what FIFA President Gianni Infantino has to say about it. He said, quote, "The golden age of club football has started. We can definitely say this FIFA Club World Cup has been a huge success. It is already the most successful club competition in the world." All right. So those are his thoughts, but Jürgen Klopp has a completely different opinion. He told one of the German papers this: "The Club World Cup is the worst idea ever implemented in football. People who have never had anything to do with day-to-day business are coming up with ideas. I fear that next season players will suffer injuries they've never had before. If not, then it'll happen at the World Cup or afterwards." Whew. Okay, so some strong opinions there, Marco, from Jürgen Klopp, but I think all of us agree with kind of what he has to say. There are a lot of concerns, but on the whole, what was your big takeaway now that we've seen the Club World Cup in this kind of manner, the expanded format, come to a close?
I would say I'm somewhere in between Klopp and Infantino. For me, it's not the best club competition. It's clearly the Champions League, and it's not the worst idea ever, but I do think it's too much football.
Yeah.
It is too much for the players, for the amount of teams that were there. It was better than I expected because I had low expectations going into the Club World Cup. And I would say the intensity and how exciting it got in the quarterfinals, and also to see the clashes, right? To have the European teams and the South American teams and even Al Hilal, I really enjoyed watching the clashes of styles, but it is simply too much football. Do I have the solution? No. I don't know exactly what needs to be done, but what I do know is this is not sustainable. And I've seen some quotes, I don't know if it was from maybe Pep Guardiola, who said maybe we didn't see the impact today, but we might see the impact come February on what this will mean to us.
Barcelona reported to training yesterday. Real Madrid just got their vacation a couple of days ago after they got knocked out of this tournament. Like, they're gonna have 3 weeks less of vacation. The impact is gonna be immediate. I do agree with you that it's way too much football. Infantino wanted his marquee club tournament. He got it. Did we all consume it? We devoured it. It was fun. I had a lot of fun this month. I'm not gonna lie. We're running these players into the ground. Mm-hmm. That's a reality. And we're going to see the impact of that further down the line. But it's not just FIFA Club World Cup versus Champions League that's saturating the calendar. It's also UEFA Nations League. These friendlies have now become important. You have to play these games, and you're vying for a trophy. You can't just play unlimited subs to give players rest, to kind of go through the motions a little bit. Understand the idea. No, you're playing for a trophy. Between Infantino and Chefrin, the football calendar is becoming saturated. There's no more room.
But also the league plays. It's not even them two. What about Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Coppa Italia? There is so much for
Coppa Italia, 4 games.
It's a lot.
Super Cup in Spain. Supercopa de España, 4 games, and it's not in Spain. It's in Saudi Arabia. Go travel, take 2 weeks off of that time.
You're the former player. I don't know. Maybe you have the solution.
No, look, if I did, I wouldn't be in studio right now. I tell you what, I'd be on my private jet
somewhere. That's a lot
somewhere,
to talk about, that's for sure.
No, but sure. I agree to some extent, but this is the commercialization of football. This is the age we live in. What would these players be doing if their summer, overall, for clubs like Real Madrid, for clubs like Chelsea, for clubs that are big brands, maybe Barcelona doing something different, they'd be playing glorified friendlies, right?
There's a lot less intensity in those games.
The intensity is different, but they'd be traveling to Malaysia to play football matches.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so but after 3-4 weeks of vacation,
I think overall this has been a success, wild success.
I think it has
in ways that none of us could have ever seen.
I listen. Is it a success? I think you have to categorize it as that because, again, and I'm always going to say it from a consumer standpoint because we were bought in. I think there's more people on board than off board at this point. Was it almost like a shameless cash grab injected with the Saudi money?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, but it got us all interested in this tournament. When the South Americans were beating the Europeans, we perked up and went, whoa, there's something here. And the show of support from the fans, even if it was River taking fans to Seattle on the other side of the globe.
That was cool.
The Urawa Red Diamonds crossing the Pacific Ocean to show their support. Wydad Casablanca, Boca in Miami. That was unbelievable to watch. I almost had more fun in the group stage than I did in this latter portion of the tournament. But even with the Brazilians that had showed up and that fought to the very end, Infantino's onto something here.
But he's wrong. He's wrong about what he's saying, that this is the best team in the world. Because it's not.
The best competition.
You didn't have the champions of Spain. Barcelona was not there. You didn't have the champions of Italy. Napoli was not there.
England.
And
Yeah, champions of England.
Champions of England. That's what I'm saying. So let's not say that. Because for me, then we're getting too crazy. Did I enjoy it? Yes. That's why I'm somewhere in the middle. But I enjoyed it more than I expected. But let's not say that this is the best team. We didn't crown the best team because most of the best teams were not even involved in the tournament.
Can we edit my remarks from segment A? They are the Club World Cup winners.
Yeah, they're not the world.
Listen, obviously, but I think Infantino's goal was to take a little bit of shine off of the Champions League.
Definitely.
Did he do that in your opinion, though? Because we talk about the dilution
it's impossible to take prestige off the Champions League.
Right.
It feels like the Champions League has to self-implode for the prestige to be gone. You're never going to take away prestige off of the Champions League. It is a marquee tournament in the history of world football. But Infantino took a right foot forward, and he has stepped onto the stage of world football because, again, people liked this. I guarantee if you ask, if you poll people and say, "Are you looking forward to the next FIFA Club World Cup?" You're going to be. People are going to say,
Nico,
"Absolutely."
You were in the stadium. You were in the stadium. I'm just going off of my feeling. When Chelsea lifted the trophy, and I even asked some people around me, did it feel like when a Champions League is awarded, did you have that like sort of prestige and that feeling like, wow?
It's the first tournament.
iteration of a tournament,
right? It's the first tournament. You have to start somewhere.
Go back to the 1950 European Cup and when Real Madrid lifted the trophy and ask, did it feel, the people there in 1950, did it feel like they were lifting a World Cup? I don't know the answer.
Maybe you're right.
I have no idea, but it's the first iteration of the tournament.
Do you see a world then in which the Club World Cup gets to that point where it is either on equal playing field with the Champions League
No. The UEFA Champions League is the pinnacle in world football. That question.
World Cup.
Okay.
Club football.
Club football.
Club football.
Football for clubs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you asked a question, and I think we were talking about it behind the scenes of what does this mean for PSG?
Nothing.
Right? That tells you everything you need to know about where the Champions League stands, where this competition stands.
Unless Luis Enrique gets suspended.
But they're onto something with this. And I agree that it's too much football, but I loved what I saw from this tournament. The accessibility to Wydad Casablanca.
Yeah.
When was that in your bingo card that you would, Juve's playing Wydad? None of us would have even watched clubs like that. The accessibility to football, clubs that going back to when I played, that I had access to, that I'd have to get on an 18-hour flight to Johannesburg just to get a chance to watch Mamelodi Sundowns. I watched them play. I watched the inception of their rise to the pinnacle of the CAF Champions League. You can now come to your backyard at MetLife Stadium. You can go to places in the United States. The accessibility to football, that is what I'm happy about.
But the format, something's wrong with the format,
but
though.
also,
in what sense?
In the sense that you didn't have the champions of, I want to see Liverpool play. I want to see Barcelona play. I want to see Napoli play. There has to be some sort of thing that if those teams that didn't qualify based on the historical precedent, they should be involved. Because those are the teams that I want to see play.
Why do you have a Salzburg in this tournament? You know how Salzburg qualified?
Don't know.
Salzburg qualified because you can't have more than 2 teams from one member association, from one league, right? So you had to go down the pecking order of who's the next highest ranked UEFA team per the coefficient. And not this team because there's already 2 German teams. Okay, no, not this team because there's already 2 English teams. No, not this team because there's too many La Liga teams. No, not this team. And you ended at Red Bull Salzburg. Not to say they didn't deserve to be there because per the regulations and the rules, they managed to qualify because of their performances in international football. But yes, it feels strange that Barca wasn't in it, that Liverpool wasn't in it, and that Auckland City was, with no disrespect to Auckland City, because they also deserve to be in it. They are champions of Oceania. There needs to be some way to get these players, but I feel like every so often you are going to get an odd man out. Boca barely qualified to the Club World Cup.
But the qualification's been like years in the making. I mean, Chelsea qualified from winning the Champions League 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Yeah, I know.
Should they expand the format?
I can replace a couple teams. Give me the list. I'll tell you who to replace.
32 for me. A World Cup was. And I'm so angry, and we'll get into this in a year from now, but 32 was the sweet spot. 32 teams, 8 groups of 4, around the 16 onwards was the sweet spot. And again, I consumed a lot of media beyond European outlets because I was obviously floored with Brazilian media, Argentinian media, Mexican media, African media. I got a lot of North Africans because of my Morocco following. They loved this. They loved waking up and watching. Maybe from the European sense of things, Europeans are so used to these level quality games, for them it's so normal. But there's something in the underdog story about a North African, Sub-Saharan African, a Saudi team, a Brazilian, an Argentine, a Mexican, going up against the Europeans and proving their worth and going toe-to-toe and at least competing to leave the names of these corners of the football world to a worthy degree up against who are the behemoths of world football, which are the Europeans.
But the European teams and the players pay the price because Chelsea and PSG played 64 and 65 games this season. These other clubs aren't even getting close to that number.
Depends.
And but you need...
Fluminense is getting close to that. It's Fluminense with a break in December. That helps. Fluminense played more games than Chelsea.
That was the Maresca moment.
Chelsea also has 98 players on their roster.
That's true.
So
okay,
Chelsea
but the European
fans
teams have to be involved in order for the South American teams to benefit from. Because you're playing against that level of competition. The European teams help bring that prestige to
showcase it,
Club
right?
World Cup. Yeah.
It's huge revenue. I mean, when you look at the money, I mean, the two teams that probably needed it least, PSG and Chelsea, are the ones who will benefit the most.
Yes,
I think they'd be fine.
And Al Hilal, who is owned by the same people who are putting money into this tournament.
Either way, though, there's some good things, there's some bad things. We didn't even talk about the weather, for example, and the problems that had. We were in the stands. I was going to pass out just not doing anything, just watching them. It was so hot. And it wasn't even that hot of a day. The weather delays that happened. These are all things that I think we can learn from, which I'm happy that they happen now for next summer's World Cup. Again, I don't know the solutions. Infantino says we're going to use the 4 stadiums in America that have air conditioning. I don't know how that's going to be sustainable.
Well, he said they're going to prioritize the fields with retractable roofs in the stadiums for at least
how many are there?
4, right?
There's more than that.
I think this is a greater conversation to be had because it is going to be a problem.
It's a big problem.
Just to put a pin in this whole thematic conversation about Club World Cup, I think we walk away saying, I want to see another one. I can't wait until Boca has to travel to Brazil, Saudi Arabia. And this is me from a fan perspective, not from a journalist perspective, because I want to put myself in the shoes of fans who give their money to travel, to go to the other side of the world. So personally, if you had to say success or flop, you must check the success box.